A little bit about the specifics of our project. We'll presently have a 20 megawatt wind project planned. It is going to be built with 5 Vestas turbines. They're 4 megawatt turbines with 136 meter rotors. They'll be approximately 492 feet to the tip of the blade. They'll be interconnected through NY-So to Niagara and Mohawk's transmission, 150 kV line. And we'll have the power purchase agreement with Niagara and Mohawk. They'll buy the power and resell that to users, local users. And that, just as a sideline, that power is bought at their avoided cost rate, so it's bought at the rate they're paying for power right now, so it doesn't increase the rate of anybody's power. The investment in the project will be $25 to $30 million, and we're targeting start of construction for Q4 of 2020, with commercial operation date being Q3 of 2021. The biggest thing driving that schedule is the interconnection process through NY-So. It's a cumbersome process, a little longer than some others. But this slide's a little dark and hard to see, but the wind turbine project will be located east of Old County Road and north and south of Whitman Road. So if you can see the curvy road there, that's Old County Road. And then just about in the middle there is Whitman Road. There'll be 2 turbines on the Britt property to the north, and there'll be 3 turbines to the south, one of them on Eddy property and one on Underwood Jasmine property, south of Whitman Road. So we've so as part of this, we've done some studies, preliminary studies, take a look at the project. We'll do more in-depth studies as we get into the secret process and the special use permit process. But this is a preliminary sound study that shows that the areas in red are the 50 dB and above. That shows that everything outside, we're outside of the within the township's ordinance as far as sound. So we don't have any sound above 50 dB outside of the property lines. And this slide again is a little dark here. I don't know if I can outline this a little bit, but this shows the shadow flicker, potential shadow flicker from the wind turbines. And I don't know if you can see my arrow.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to roughly outline the 30 dBA area. It crosses Old County Road here, comes back up, runs back around here, comes up across the Old County Road over on this side, runs along here, crosses Whitman Road about here, and comes back across here. This 30 dBA shadow flicker model here shows the worst case. So what it shows is if the turbines ran 24/7, there were no trees present, no cloud cover, how many hours of shadow flicker would a house see? So it gives you the theoretical hours, it doesn't give you the actual hours. So the actual hours are much less. These turbines will run approximately at a 40% capacity factor. So that takes out 60% of the potential shadow flicker immediately. Obviously this area has a lot of trees. A lot of the homes are blocked by the trees and the landscape. And as item B notes, there's a lot of the shadow flicker is driven by the winter hours. So the winter hours, the sun's setting lower, it drives that shadow flicker further across the landscape. And in the winter time here, you guys have cloud cover from time to time. Yeah, well, cloud cover as any other place would. And that blocks a lot of that shadow flicker too. One of the things we'll do is meet with landowners that have shadow filter above that 30-hour level, and we'll offer them what we call a neighbor agreement and give them money to put towards things that would help eliminate, rectify any shadow filter issues they might have at their home. As I've said, most of these homes already have that in place. There's a lot of trees and timber in that area that would block most of it, but we'll still offer everybody that has above that 30-hour theoretical number something to put towards solving those issues. Another question that often comes up in regards to wind turbine projects are safety measures, ice shedding, ice throws. Part of your ordinance and any standard ordinance is to have setbacks. Most of the ice shedding is below the turbine, and that's why you have setbacks that are far enough from property lines, homes, to not put people's homes in danger. Secondly, this particular turbine that we'll be installing here will have a de-icing system that will detect and remove ice from the turbine blades. Second item that's often brought up is tower collapse blade throws. And I know there's been questions about the local wind farm in Finner that had some issues. One of the things that we've seen over the last years is a lot of technology improvements in mandatory safety standards. So turbines are a lot safer today than they've ever been in the past. They've got a lot of backups to keep them from overspinning and creating problems like that. They've also, all modern turbines have lightning protection systems to prevent from blade failures also. One other item that often comes up is a decommissioning plan. The anticipated life of the project is a minimum of 20 years. These newer turbines will last all of 20 years, maybe 25 to 30 years. Before construction, even normally before we get our building permit put in place, we'll have a decommissioning plan that's been agreed upon by the town. That decommissioning plan normally has these different items. There'll be provisions that trigger the event for decommissioning. There'll be provisions for removal of all above ground structures and below ground to a depth of 36 inches. Provisions for restoration of soil and vegetation in areas. So when we turn the land back to the landowner, it's as close to what it was before as possible. It'll include a timetable approved by the town for site restoration. So normally these decommissioning plans have a bond that we start funding in a certain year and have it funded completely by a final year. And that's usually agreed upon with the town. It'll include an estimate of decommissioning costs certified by FD, and that's what will drive the size of the bond that we have in place for the decommissioning plan. In project economics, the benefit to the township, local residents, landowners benefit from easement agreements. This is usually a pretty interesting thing to most farmers. It helps offset up years, down years. They've got a constant income coming in from the wind turbine. It's just another way that they can sort of level out the playing field as crop prices change. Pilots community host benefits, and this is one thing that our colleagues at Building Energy will talk a little bit more about, but this is a big benefit to the schools, the local town, fire, libraries. They all get their share of the tax, which helps the community out quite a bit. And then from a job standpoint, from a short-term standpoint, there'll be contractors that are helping with the construction. A lot of times, a lot of that's done locally. We need some road improvements or access roads put in. That's when they're done locally. A lot of those kind of things. Collection lines get put in a lot of times by somebody that's a local person with a trencher or something like that. And then long-term positions. There'll be long-term positions for supervising the wind farm, overseeing things, handling the supplies and equipment that's needed, and then there'll be long-term position for O&M personnel that will work on the turbines. Next steps for us, from the board, is to have the board initiate a zone change process. So our normal first step is to step into submitting a special use permit application, but I guess the first thing that we need to have is the board to approve doing a zone change so that we can move into that normal process. And once that's done, then we start doing all the detailed studies that are required for seeker and for the special use permits, and get all that stuff into the board for review. That's the end of my presentation. If it's best, we can do both presentations and take questions together, or how do you prefer to do it?
Yeah, let's do it that way.
Okay, perfect. In just a second here. Okay, so I'll introduce Andrea Brackwise with Building Energy. We'll let him take it from there.
Hi, good evening. So this is a short presentation about Building Energy. It's an Italian company. I'm Italian. I'm here with Silvia Borghetti. We are both Italian, both in the US since 2015, and we represent Building Energy in the US. So a few words about Building Energy. This word, okay. So we work exclusively on renewable energy. What does it mean? It means that worldwide we do development. Essentially, we partner with local developers like Steve and Esther in each country, and we take lands and position everywhere to try to develop projects, solar, wind, hydro environments. That's what we do. Actually, I am also a former oil and gas guy. That's where I met Steve 15 years ago in Des Moines, Iowa. And now we are living our redemption in renewables, both of us. And so we do 100% renewable projects. What we did so far, I don't want to spend much time with those numbers, probably doesn't represent anything for you, but we did, those numbers represent quite important numbers for us. It's several megawatt. Every single megawatt gives renewable energy to thousands of families, thousands of houses, and we did it in 4 continents. So Africa, Europe, South America, and now recently North America. This is the different things that we do. So as I said, we are fully engaged in development. That's where we enter into the deep relationship with the local community, because we have to find the lands, we have to take all the permits to build, all the permits to interconnect the facility to the grid, find someone that pay the energy. So our purchase agreement is also important with off-takers. Most of them are utilities, local utilities. Sometimes those PPA are signed with private corporate, and most recently, especially here in New York State, there is a community system that give opportunity for private people to enter into agreement with solar and wind developer. It's not the case of this project we are developing here, but in New York you will see and you will hear more than what I'm saying here about community solar distribution generation, these magic words. We partner with local contractor to build those facilities, and with a wind manufacturer in this case. We operate the system for many years. So essentially, if this project will go through, you will see me here in Lincoln, Ohio for a couple of decades at least, and we will have our O&M building here. We're gonna have what Steve said about, we're gonna have people working, supervising those assets for us, and work monitoring the system and react if there is any issue, or just reporting to us that everything is going well. Global footprint, we have office in Milan, where the company was born several years ago. London, Cape Town, used to be in South Africa back in time before moving to the US. We have office in Washington, D.C., where we have our home base, and Santiago de Chile for South America. That's what we did in the US so far. So we are, of course, US for us represent not the entire country, but few states. And the reason why we are developing projects in those few states is because there is wind source, solar source, some good policy framework that incentivize investment in those states, and make all the projects, those kind of projects are very complex, so you need to have a lot of skills in place, and a lot of involvement by the local community that, of course, would be happy to have those assets in their town and their county. So Montana is where we are working with Steve and Esther on a similar development wind farm. Iowa is what we did, and it's right now it's in operation close to Ames. New York, we have several solar facilities already up and running, and in the Finger Lakes area, actually Cornell University. So the town of Hartford, the town of Geneva, the town of Ithaca, that's where we have our solar facility operating. And recently, actually while I'm speaking, we are commissioning a solar plant in the city of Annapolis on a closed landfill. And I will touch base this later. So this is the first project we ever developed and built and operate. This is in the town of Ithaca, very close to the campus of the Cornell University. This is a solar plant. All the energy is going to the NYSEG grid, and Ithaca is benefiting from the net metering credit generated by this solar plant. So we have an agreement with Cornell University for 20 years, so they can buy the energy and get the benefit of the net metering credit. This is another solar project for Cornell University. This is in the town of Geneva. Similar to the previous one, again, Cornell University in the town of Hartford. You see how those renewable energy systems fit with the landscape without any issue. And this is the last one we did for Cornell University in the town of Musgrave. This is, I think it's a winter picture. This is the wind farm we are running in Iowa. This was a 3 years development in a distribution generation kind of development. So this wind farm are in, I think, 5 different counties, if I'm not wrong. So meaning, I'm mentioning this is because a lot of landlords, a lot of municipalities are benefiting from the extra revenue generated by those systems in terms of paying of the lease of or easement on those lands, paying of property tax, and of course all the activity that we do with the town and the county to market renewable energy, so organizing events. And, actually, we had a big celebration in Ames last year when we had the ribbon cutting ceremony. We have the Italian concert in Chicago that joined us, and several other people joining these things, and we did this at the University of Ames, University of Iowa. This one is the one that I was mentioning before. This is a solar plant that is built, has been built in I think it's 100 acres roughly, so it's quite sizable. It's an enclosed landfill. I like this project because when I met the mayor of the city of Annapolis, he was struggling because this landfill was just cost for the city. So we turned out to have a cost and a liability for the city in a revenue generation for the city, because we pay the lease on this landfill and we pay taxes for the property. So it's a win-win situation that happened, and all the energy generated by this plant now is going to also reduce the electricity bill of the city of Annapolis, the Anne Arundel County, and the Board of Education representing the public schools. So there are several lines of revenue streams, or let's say reducing costs, that make this project viable to all the stakeholders. So back to our project in the town of Lincoln. It's going not to be easy to develop the project, but if we reach the what we call the commercial operation, so when we start to generate electricity, we're going to have a lot of benefit for the town, staying in the town, and those benefits are, if I just summarize here, of course those are the most tangible one. There are a lot of intangible that normally happens during the years. The very easy one, of course, there will be non-pollution. So the energy is generated by the wind. Thanks God, in this place you have wind, so there is no pollution, no fuel, nothing comes to town that can create extra pollutions. There are taxes that is going to be paid by the project that's staying in the town. So revenue for the town, revenue for the school district, any local tax jurisdiction, according to by law, receive those taxes based on a tax assessment or fair assessment of the property. The thing is that those taxes are pretty, let's say, certain for a long period. So there is no fluctuations. There is a local economic impact. Of course, landowners will receive payment for their lands and for any disturbance that we create. For the construction phase, there will be hundreds of people working. Of course, this is a short-term local jobs, because the construction lasts for a little bit more than a year, probably door to door. Then we're going to have long-term jobs, but for a fewer amount of people, just for monitoring and operation and maintenance of those facilities. There are other impacts. So, for example, as I said, we organized several events, especially with Cornell University, of course. We organized several events, and we hope that we can do the same here. So try to get all the people educated on what it means to have a wind farm in the local community. This wind farm will have the benefit of the very latest technology available around the world. So the 4 megawatt machine that Steve presented is a very brand new technology, and will be probably the first one in all the country that will be installed in this town. If of course all the development goes through smoothly as we expect. I can finish here. Of course, we have several other projects. Probably recognize this is the Washington Mall, where we build like solar plant just to give solar energy to an event during the Earth Day back in 2015. So we also do this kind of things for demonstration or for any other things to try to reduce the impact of pollution in similar events. Where without the solar plants, this kind of events need to go through diesel generation set. With this system, we get rid of all the diesel. And of course, the rangers and the Washington Mall were very happy not to have this diesel generation set running 24/7 for several days.
Thank you.
Right.
Anyone have any questions?
On the first part of your presentation, so you listed 2 currently under development in New York. Where's the second one? Is that
Genesee County?
Finger Lakes?
No, it's in Genesee County. Genesee County by Darien. The town's like correctly Darien.
South Rochester.
No.
I thought I saw something in there that referred to a bonding process. Should our roads from the project's construction phase undergo any type of damage or be in need of reconstruction, that road that you're looking at is not designed for anything much more than a snowplow to go across. And you're going to waste considerably more.
Yeah, and one of the things we do, and one of the things we do with all of our projects, if we damage roads, then we take responsibility for repairing those roads back to the existing condition. I talked to Anthony a little bit earlier today, but one of the things I think we'll look at doing is that particular road is doing up some kind of agreement, taking some pictures before and pictures after, making sure that we have in place the plan to have that repaired.
Plus, we've also just put in place a local law stating just that. So any projects or any businesses, that could have an impact on our town roads,
Yeah.
or any type of extraordinary costs would then be incurred by that particular project.
And that's actually pretty commonplace for us when we work in most places, that if we damage your road, we repair it, or pay to have it repaired, whichever is required.
At this particular time, thank you. Anybody else have any other questions? So we just need the opportunity to be able to discuss it as a board and with our town attorney. And if we are able to gather any more questions at that point, be able to add to those. I know that you talked about part of the program. I know that there is the zoning change process. So you just need the opportunity to be able to put all that together. Maybe additional questions so that we can, before we go into it.
So this is,
They will eventually, but initially the town board will have to enact appropriate legislation
The zone changes.
To allow it, right?
so if you need anything further from us, just let us know. Anything else that you would like from us tonight?
I don't think anything else that we would like. Any other questions you